And then, guys, one of the questions I received the most in the last 24 hours is regarding Sandro Tonali. Because on Sandro Tonali, there are many reports. 1 week is about Arsenal, 1 week is about Man City, 1 week is about Man United. What I can tell you guys on Sandro Tonali is quite clear. So, for Sandro Tonali, the intention of Newcastle is not to accept a normal fee. When you see reports from Italy about 50, 60 million euros, forget about that. Has to be a way bigger fee in order to find a solution and sign Sandro Tonali in the summer transfer window. So it must be a very, very expensive deal, a very, very important deal on the financial point of view. Then, when we talk about clubs interested in Sandro Tonali, for sure Arsenal are keeping close eye to the situation, but Arsenal at the moment have not agreed anything, have not prepared anything for a Sandro Tonali deal. You remember on deadline day there was that report about Arsenal and Tonali, impossible, never been a possibility, false. So Arsenal never really entered in conversation because Tonali was never going to leave Newcastle in the final hours of the market, and Newcastle were never going to sell a player like Sandro Tonali in January on deadline day. That was absolutely impossible story. Then, two clubs from the Premier League have called for Sandro Tonali to be informed of the situation. Manchester City and Manchester United are both following the situation of Tonali. So there is a lot of interest from Arsenal, from Man City, and from Man United. Then, in terms of admiration, in terms of interest, there is also Juventus. It's been almost 1 year and a half that Juventus are trying to find a solution to sign Sandro Tonali, but it's at the moment very, very complicated for Juventus financially. It looks like a very difficult, unlikely deal. And so, for Tonali, now genuine interest from other Premier League clubs. Again, we know how complicated it is to negotiate with Newcastle. It's still early stages with conversations with Man United, with Manchester City. Man United, for example, just to explain to you the situation, guys. Man United have several names on their short list for the midfielder. It's not only one or two, because this will depend on the budget, this will depend on who's going to be the manager, this will depend on which kind of player Man United want to sign. Could be one, could be two, so there are several factors that are going to impact who is going to be the midfielder for Man United. It's not only one name. At the moment, the list is including several names. Before they meet internally and they say, okay, let's go for this one. But for sure, Manchester United made some calls to be informed on Tonali. Manchester City did the same, because for Manchester City, Elliot Anderson is a name I maintain for the midfield. For sure, he's very high on the short list. But Manchester City are calling for several midfielders, informed on several midfielders. And then, on Arsenal, they want to do something right back, something up front, and also something in midfield. And that's why Tonali is a name appreciated by Arsenal, but at the moment, it depends also on the financial package, because Arsenal obviously have several things to do on the market, not just one, and so Tonali could be very expensive. So let's see what happens, but for sure Tonali will be one of the big names.